Donald Trump is not the president yet, but he is the focal point of the palpable tension that can be felt across this nation right now. Since the election, anti-Trump protests and racially charged incidents both seem to be on the rise. Demonstrations last night led to more than 150 arrests in Los Angeles, and law enforcement in Portland, Oregon used pepper spray and rubber bullets to disperse crowds after what the police called anarchists, that's in quotes, began breaking office windows and vandalizing property. Before nightfall, much of the political world was reflecting on Trump's conciliatory demeanor and presidential-ish tone during his visit to Washington, D.C. Then Trump signaled that he was unwilling to change at least one campaign season habit of his. That would be his late-night Twitter lashings. At around 9 p.m. Eastern Time, the New York billionaire decided that thousands of protesting Americans deserved one of his trademark counter-punches. He tweeted, quote, "Just had a very open and successful presidential election. Now professional protesters, incited by the media, are protesting. Very unfair!" Exclamation point. Facing criticism that his social media outburst might incite more unrest, Trump tried to walk things back this morning when, just after 6 a.m., he put out, yes, another tweet. Quote, "Love the fact that the small groups of protesters last night have passion for our great country. We will all come together and be proud!" Exclamation point. Can't believe he actually wrote those words. Don't sound like him. Anyway, meanwhile, horrific and shameful incidents of racism, hate speech, and even some hate crimes have been reported across the country in recent days. Social media posts have depicted celebratory Confederate flag waving, white supremacist graffiti, and other deeply disturbing incidents.
Parents of children at one middle school in Michigan are upset after some students were heard chanting, "Build the wall."
The student said he was called the N-word and the teacher was not around in the room. People were in tears.
Dear Muslims, immigrants, women, disabled, LGBTQ, and all people of color, we love you boldly and proudly. We will endure. By Thursday morning, the sign looked like this.
This picture that was taken by a woman who saw something hanging from a balcony.
Police are investigating the graffiti as a possible hate crime.
Beyond that, all of that stuff, there's been multiple reports of Muslim Americans being physically assaulted by what appear to be Trump supporters. The president-elect has not yet said anything publicly about these occurrences. So, Mark, what obligation? President-elect Trump is the president-elect, not the president yet. We abide normally by the truism that we only have one president at a time. But what obligation does Donald Trump have right now to speak out about these incredibly troubling occurrences?
This is a moment of truth because these things are happening. I won't say they're his fault, but they're happening as a direct result of his candidacy and of his election. He bears some measure of responsibility. I should say, I won't say they're all his fault. He bears some measure of responsibility. It would be good for his presidency, good for him as a person, good for the country if he would condemn these things in no uncertain terms. And I just wish he would, because he's going to get off to a slow start or a fast start. Everyone in the country wants him to succeed. He should speak out. I don't know why he wouldn't.
If he wants to be a successful president, if he wants to do what he says he wants to do, which is be the president for all Americans, he must speak out. Because the reality is that it's not his fault that people are racist in America. That's not his fault. But he ran a campaign that was, in some cases, directly racist. In other cases, that exacerbated racist sympathies and racist feelings that people have. He ran an ugly campaign, an ugly, nasty, divisive campaign. He won. It's true. But now, if he, again, really wants to live up to what he has said, which is that he wants to try to bring the country together, he's got to step forward and take some responsibility for having made this situation worse, and renounce these acts, renounce things that he's said in the past, and appeal to people's better angels.
You may be asking for more than he's actually going to do, but all he needs to do, as far as I'm concerned, is say they break his heart and they're not American.
Yeah, well. Yes.
They're not the best of America. They break his heart.
Well, look, I don't know what he is capable of saying, but I think if he were to take some measure of responsibility on himself and say, I know that in some cases in this campaign I crossed the line and I incited some negative feelings.
I'd like him to do that,
but I know. I'm just saying.
Trying to be realistic, but think how powerful it would be if all he said was, "These things break my heart. These are not in the best spirit of America. We need to come together." One tweet. I don't even think that was 140 characters.
He needs to go further than that if he wants to be a successful president.